Good evening, channel members. Welcome to our exclusive live stream. This is fun. We get to do these once a month. I always look forward to them. Tonight, we're going to be talking about those tariffs and investing in a tariff environment. What stocks are good? What stocks are bad? What's it all going to do? And guys, I think we're going to do it in a fun way. I don't think I could just sit here and talk and say yeah, blah 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 blah. But that's not that. That's really kind of boring. Let's actually have a little bit of fun with this tonight. So I've created a little something. I'm going to show it to you in a bit. We're not going to jump into it right away. Let's give folks a chance to get in. Let the people who are late, they can sort of stagger on in. Interestingly enough, because this is a channel member live stream, I got no idea how many people are here. It does not give me a counter at all. So who knows? As far as I know right now, it might just be me and Kiev and Kaz. So I do know that Kiev and Kaz is here. So looking forward to this. Good afternoon, evening, gang. All right, absolutely. Yeah, it's been an interesting day in the market. Perhaps not the market per se, but Trump was at the World Economic Forum today, and he gave himself a nice little speech. So that was kind of interesting. He, of course, he brought up Canada and the fact that he is planning to go ahead with those tariffs on February 1st. He also said Canada can get rid of the tariffs if they want to easily just by becoming a state. So he's still persisting with that. I still think his end goal is more of an economic union than to actually annex Canada. But, he brought it up at the World Economic Forum. Another really interesting point, which is kind of off topic for where we're going tonight, is NATO. He actually gave a not a warning, but a suggestion. He said he was going to ask all of the NATO countries to raise their defense spending to 5% GDP. Now, Canada, I believe we're around 1.37 right now. Trudeau had to put together a plan to get us up to 2% by, was it 2038 something or 2034? It was a way out. So that might need to get retooled. It's going to be interesting nonetheless. But it's those tariffs. That's what we're looking at. And a lot of people have been asking me, not just because you guys voted this as a topic, but a lot of people have been asking me questions about, well, what's that going to do to stocks? Which companies are going to absolutely crumble under tariffs, and which companies are going to do better? So, guys, let me pull this up. We got a tariff tier list. That's what we're going to do today. I picked out I don't know, maybe 40 different companies. We're going to sort them and we're going to put them into this list. So as we have high impact. So these are the companies that are going to be hurt really bad by the tariffs. Medium impact companies that will be hurt, not super bad, but they'll definitely feel a good impact. Low impact are more or less companies that will receive more collateral damage from the tariffs. And then, of course, no impact. These are companies that, they're going to be like, okay, we're fine. We don't have to worry so much about the tariffs. So we're going to go through and I got some companies. I got some already listed down here, a whole bunch of companies that we'll look at. We're going to sort them and put them into our tier list as we move through the night, through the evening. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I love tier lists. It's kind of one of my guilty pleasures. So we did one before, guys. Actually, I think it's a public video now. But we did one for stocks at one point, as into the whole SABC. We did that with the stocks, and that was actually a lot of fun. That was a real fun one. So I've been kind of looking for an excuse to do this again. We got it. We got it. We got the tier list. And of course, if you guys have companies, once we're through these, if there's companies that you want me to throw in the list that I have not included, by all means, let me know. We can always add them. All right. We're going to start. We'll start with CNR. So Canadian National Railway is an interesting company. By the way, you guys may have seen there is a deep dive that is available to you guys today. Everybody else gets to see it tomorrow, but I'm pretty excited about that. CNR is one of my favorite companies by far. Now, here's the thing with CNR, right? They do transport a lot of goods to the United States. So the tracks from CNR go coast to coast in Canada, go up into the north, into our minerals, but they also go all the way down to the Gulf of, should I call it Mexico? The Gulf of Mexico? Or should we be calling it the Gulf of America? Right now, we're going to call it the Gulf of Mexico because everybody knows what the Gulf of Mexico is. So that's an interesting thing. So the part, though, of CNR, like all of their, coast to coast in Canada, that's not going to be impacted by the tariffs. So, taking grain from Saskatchewan to the ports in Vancouver, not going to be impacted in any way, shape, or form. But the impact we're going to get with a company like CNR, is it's all that cross-border trade. Now, that will have an impact on them. And that's something to keep in mind because they've had a rough year. They've had strikes, wildfires, all of that fun stuff. Now they've got tariffs to look forward to. So looking at CNR, let's grab them. Would you put them as a high impact, though? No, because they do have a lot of business, like I said, coast to coast in Canada. So they're definitely not high impact. What about medium impact? That does sound very reasonable for CNR. Low impact? Nah, not really. It's not collateral. Some of the damage is definitely direct. So CNR, our first sorted company, is going to be a medium impact. Now, if we look, and I have them down here as well. I've got CP down here as well. We're looking at kind of the same story for Canadian Pacific, Kansas City. They have tracks going all the way to Mexico, but they have a lot of good cross-border movement, same kind of boat. So they're going to be in that same boat as CNR. So we'll put them in there. We have both railroads sitting in our medium impact. So they will have some impact for sure. I still think they're both really good investments. And I think that on the other side of the tariffs, they'll both rebound pretty darn good. I think it's going to be a strong year. I would say it's going to be a strong year for both of them by the time the year is all said and done. Provided we don't have tariffs all year. If we have tariffs all year, then 2026 will be a good year for them. I don't think these tariffs will last forever. I know there's a lot of talk, a lot of rhetoric. I'm hoping they don't last that long. Because you have to realize, and I think this is kind of part of what Trump, I think, is not seeing, is that when he enacts a tariff on Canadian goods, it's not Canadian companies that are being taxed. It's technically the U.S. The U.S. customers of the Canadian products who are paying that tariff. But where it does start to hurt Canada is initially they're going to be paying higher prices, Americans, and then they might look to, so let's say lumber. They might be looking at Canadian lumber and say, oh, well, you know what? It's just too expensive now. Maybe that American lumber coming out of Washington is is perhaps better, a little bit cheaper. So they might start going to alternative goods. So then we end up having less exported out. That's where we get hurt. So there is a bit of a bit of a delay on that. You also have to keep in mind too, a lot of these US companies, they've seen this coming. They have seen this coming and they have already been planning for it and buying a lot of the goods that they need. They've been buying them in, I'll say in batch. They've been basically buying in bulk, bringing it down, prepared for what is coming. And now, especially now that they know they have until February 1st, as long as they can get it across the border before then, they're paying the cheaper price. Definitely paying the cheaper price. All right, so those are our railroads. This is a good one here. All right, so Fortis. And you guys know I love Fortis. This is a great, great company. So you got to look at what Fortis does. I mean, they're a utility company. So they are based out of, actually out of St. John's, Newfoundland. But they provide power to a lot of places in Canada. But most of their business is actually in the United States. So you might be thinking, they got business in the United States. That's going to be bad for them. That's going to be bad, right? No, not at all, because they're not selling Canada to the United States. When they're selling in the United States, they're selling power from a lot of that power is actually produced in the United States. So they're actually selling that power to Americans, and they're also highly regulated. So they're not high impact. They're really not medium impact either. All right. So what about low impact? Well, here's the thing. They're really not going to be low impact either. Fortis would actually be what we would consider no impact. And in fact, even if the entire Canadian economy were to get hurt by the tariffs, all of the stuff that Fortis sells, all of the utilities, that regulated utilities Fortis sells in the United States, that's all going to be fine. That's going to be a huge buffer for Fortis. So Fortis is one of them companies that really not much impact at all. So you got to love your Fortis. And of course, Fortis, guys, that is a dividend king. So we have that going for them too. Any of you who don't know yet what a dividend king is, that means that they have increased their dividend for basically 50 plus years consecutively every single year. That's a pretty big feat. In fact, there's only two companies in Canada, them and Canadian Utilities. I don't know if I added Canadian Utilities to the list, but I didn't. But they would also be a no impact company. So you gotta love that. All right, let's see here. Let's actually pull up. We'll pull up good old Loblaws. So Loblaws. Loblaws is another interesting one because you have to sort of start thinking about what exactly do they do. They sell food, and most of the food that they sell is most of it is Canadian food. So you're not really going to have. Well, I'll tell you right now, they're not going to be high impact for that reason. Loblaws is not selling food to the United States, so they're definitely not high impact. Well, if we think about medium impact, once again, we don't have that shipping of food across the border, so they're pretty much reserved from that as well. So you're not going to see that with Loblaws. Loblaws is going to be it's going to be no impact. It's a good, solid, most of your food companies, so Loblaws, Metro, things like that, they're all going to be in this same little boat, the low impact boat. You got to love it. You got to love it. All right, let's see here. Sorry, the no impact boat. Boy. All right. Let's see. What would be, I'm trying to think of one of the more, let's see. We don't have a low impact company. Let's see here. A low impact company would actually be something along the lines of, let's see here, Royal Bank. All right. I probably shouldn't have told you up front that they're low impact, but when we're looking at somebody like Royal Bank, they do have they do have a lot of presence in Canada, but they're also very diversified. and they do have a global presence. And part of that global presence, there will be some collateral on them. Not much, not much. Honestly, you could almost put them right on the line. Let's actually put them right on the line. And the same thing would be, I'll put TD here as well. I don't have all the banks, but all the banks are going to be in that same boat. So, Bank of Nova Scotia, Bank of Montreal, CIBC, all of that fun stuff. All right. Now, another good, let's see here. Let's do Brookfield Asset Management. All right. So Brookfield Asset Management. So they're basically investing in other companies. So they're not going to have any direct exposure to moving or exporting. So they're definitely not high impact. Now, if all of the companies that Brookfield Asset Management invested in were all import-export companies, then we could have a problem. But not really. So they're going to have some. Now, they would be a true low impact. So Brookfield Asset Management, you're not going to see a lot of movement. The cat's here rubbing against my legs. I think she wants more treats. She's not getting any more. Brookfield Asset Management, yeah, they're going to have some exposure through the companies that they're investing in, but it's not going to be big. It's not going to be big at all. All right, let's see here. Oh, let's grab Nutrien here. All right, so Nutrien, oh boy. So when we're looking at a company like Nutrien, let's start with the high impact. Do they do a lot of exporting to the United States? You bet your bucks. You bet your britches. They sure do. So they export everywhere, but they do a lot of exporting. They will have a high impact. The tariffs will definitely hit them. No doubt about it. Another high impact is, hey, kitten. Give me a second here. Let me grab. Hey, come here. Don't run away from me. All right. Here we go. Hey, you're on the camera. Say hi to the channel members. Yeah, say hi. She's almost a cat now. She'll officially be a cat in about a week and a bit. So she was born in early February. All right. All right. Here, I'm going to grab both of these. So HPS.A and HMM.A. So these are my Hammond companies. And you guys know I love Hammond. Kitten, no, you can't have treats. She's still at it. She's still at it. Like quite literally. Watch. I'll show you. It's like, yeah, she just wants treats. It's like, give me treats, give me treats. All right. There we go. We're back. Oops. Eek. All right. Yeah. All right. We'll figure it out later. So HPSA, HMM.A, my Hammond companies, they HPSA, they're selling the transformers, they're selling transformers. HMMA, the enclosures, things like that, also for data centers. They do have a lot of business in the States, as well as a good amount of business in India, but they're both going to have a higher impact. So they're both going to be what we would consider high impact when it comes to where we're at right now. These good old tariffs, they're not, I'm not happy about them. Another high impact company as well, just because they're here, is a Bombardier. So Bombardier out of Quebec, they sell a lot. They sell a lot to the States. So they will be another company that will be hit heavy when it comes to the States. Kitten, you have got to stop. You have got to stop. You've got to stop. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to give her some treats just so that she stops interrupting the show. I mean, it's cute that she's interrupting the show, but here. Hey, here. There you go. Now, maybe she'll eat those. Go up into the high hide. That's a little windowsill thing. We have names for pretty much all of the cat spots in the house. And hopefully she'll then go and nap a little bit. So that would definitely be nice. All right. Um, let's give you another one here. Whoops, right over here. We'll go down here to Suncor. All right, energy. So you're going to instantly think high impact. Um, and yeah, there's going to be impact. I don't think it's going to be high though. Now they do export energy to the United States, but they also have a good amount of energy in Canada as well. So they're going to be, I would call them medium impact, but I'd actually put them on that line. So between medium and high impact, but if I had to choose one, I would choose a medium impact for them. So that is kind of an interesting thing. All right. Let's grab. Let's see here. Oh, we're going to grab MFI. So MFI is your Maple Leaf Foods. Now they do a lot of exporting to the United States, but once again, they also have a lot. They have a good Canadian base as well. So this is going to be another one of these ones. They're more medium impact than say Suncor. So definitely, it's just a solid medium impact with them. All right, let's take a look here. Ooh. All right, let's take a look at a company like Barrick Gold. So good old Barrick Gold, they produce gold. They produce some gold mines. They're not exporting that gold anywhere. So they're one of those companies that I would consider a no impact company. So we're not going to see much happening with Barrick Gold. So that's not too shabby at all. Let's see here. Let's grab bird construction. I like the bird construction for sure. Now, bird construction, they're not really exporting, so we're not going to have high impact. We're not going to even have medium impact. Any impact that bird construction have is going to be more or less collateral damage. So they are definitely a good low impact when it comes to the tariff. So there's nothing too shabby about that. Another company too that's a low impact in here. Let's see here. I know I got them in here somewhere, right here. Fairfax Financial. So that's been a company that has been exploding in price for the last few years. They are also they're also going to be low impact. So there might be a little, there might be a little bit of collateral damage, but for the most part, they're pretty much not really on in the focus of those tariffs. So look at this. We're starting to slowly get some of these all filled in. All right, let's see here. All right, now this here is Magna, not Magma, Magna International. So they sell, well, automotive parts. And guess what? They are supplier. They are heavily reliant on U.S. manufacturers. So exporting is part of their business model. They will have a high impact, no doubt about it. Simple as that. Yeah, what can we say? Good old Magna. Also, another one too, it's right here, Stelcor. Stelcor is in that same boat. They're a steel producer, and they export a huge amount of steel to the United States. So good old Stelcor, also up in our high impact spot. Now, I'm not drinking coffee tonight. I'm actually drinking some water. A little too late in the day to be drinking a lot of coffee for sure. All right, let's see here. All right, here we go. Weston. So, of course, Weston Corporation, they own, of course, Loblaws. Or sorry, not Loblaws per se, but they own the West Coast version. So they own a lot of the superstores. So the Westons, they're more of a. They do have a good amount of distribution in the United States. So as a result, that is going to place them as medium impact. Medium impact because they do export a lot to the United States. That will, of course, and this is going to be a common theme here. the common theme is that exporting to the United States is going to put you in a higher risk. So what can I say? What can I say? Another company too. Let's grab EIT. So good old Canoe. Where are they going to fall here? Canoe does have investments in the United States. They also have a lot of energy investments. That is alone going to push them up a little bit higher, up into the medium impact. So Canoe will have a medium impact on, the tariffs will have a medium impact on Canoe. Maybe it'll create a good buying opportunity for them. All right. Let's take a look at RioCan. So RioCan, they're they're a REIT. They're all into real estate. It's all Canadian real estate. There is no exporting. So they're obviously not high impact or medium impact. There's really not a lot of collateral damage. So REITs are going to fall for the most part into no impact, provided they have no U.S. exposure. And even if they did have U.S. exposure, they're not exporting things back and forth. So you were to take something like RMAX, which of course is an ETF that has both US and Canadian, there's not going to be much of an impact on RMAX per se. I didn't actually put them in our thing, but definitely. All right, let's see here. We got Open Text. So Open Text, of course, they are a software company, but and here's the thing with Open Text. They do have significant U.S. clientele. They sell a lot of their software to U.S. clients. That software, yeah, it's going to be tariffed as well. All goods, services, products. So the Open Text will. They have a good amount of Canadian clientele as well. So they're not going to be high impact. Open Text would be your medium impact. So all of that fun stuff. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, WFG. This is West Fraser. West Fraser Timber. So they're selling a lot of timber to the United States. So, oh boy, they're not going to. They have a lot of timber going to the States. So they're high impact for sure. They will definitely be impacted. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. They're going to get impacted big time. All right. Now, Imperial Oil. And this is the interesting thing. Imperial Oil is going to be in that same boat as Suncor. They do export a good amount of oil, of course, to the United States, but they have enough Canadian clientele that's going to put them on that line. It's going to put them on the line there between medium and high impact. Ooh, I do see Enid in the house. Hello, Enid. I'm glad you made it. Glad you made it. All right. So that is our Imperial Oil. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Let's see here. All right. Who else do we have left here? We have Alimentation. Let's see. Let's do Manulife Financial. And I'm going to grab Sun Life Financial too, because they're pretty much in the same boat. So with Manulife Financial, most of their clientele are going to be in Canada. There's no real exporting back and forth. They're not, I wouldn't say that they're immune to the tariffs, but more or less, you're going to be looking at collateral for things like Manulife Financial, Sun Life Financial. I didn't put Great West Life in, but that would also fall into that low impact for sure. All right. I'm going to grab the rest of these and just bring them over here. I should have put them all over here on the side, just to start, just to have made it a little bit easier. So let's see here. All right. FNV, do we want to go with them? Yeah, we can go. FNV are going to be very similar to Barrick's Gold. Once again, this here is the Franco-Nevada. They're a mine. they're going to produce their own stuff. There's not a lot of export, so they would be a no impact. So very, very close to no impact. The good old Franco-Nevada. All right, let's see here. IFC is going to be, once again, this is going to be a lot. They're not going to have very much, really. So IFC, of course, that's Intact Financial Corporation. Basically, it's property. So property and casualty insurance, primarily in Canada. So I'm going to put them on the line, though, between low and no impact, because they do have a lot of similar properties to MFC and SLF, and of course, Great West. So yeah, I would put those guys on the line. All right. The fun of it all. So we got a couple of other ones here. We got, well, let's do BCE. So this is Bell, of course. They do primarily sell services to the Canadian market. There will be collateral damage, though, so I would put them in our low impact. And let's keep in mind, TELUS and Rogers will follow in that same boat for the most part. All right. Alimentation, Couche-Tard, there we are, ATD. Oh boy. So they've got business right around the world. They've got business in the US. They have business, well, pretty much everywhere. So I wouldn't really put them in our, I'm just trying to think here. I wouldn't put them in as high impact. You're not going to have a lot of movement of stuff across the border, but you can make an argument for medium impact because there will be some movement across the border, not really in an exact import-export, but there will be some movement. Not a lot. You know what? I'll actually put it on the line. I think the line here, because, yeah, we don't have anybody on the line between low and medium impact when it comes to ATD. So that is all of that fun over there. All right. Enid is saying BAM will do very well. Yeah, I think BAM is set up to do fantastic. Brookfield Corporation. Now, Brookfield Corporation, excuse me, let me grab BAM. I'm just going to make a Brookfield Corporation here. I didn't do them, but they're going to be similar. But because they actually own a lot of the stuff, I would actually put them, I'll put them on the line as well with ATD between low and medium impact, because they do own a lot of stuff, and there'll be a little bit more exposure, not a lot more, but I think both are going to be fine. And that's the tariff list. I love it. Is there any companies that I have not put on here that any of you guys want to see? Throw them in chat if there are, because I was putting this through and I was trying to grab the ones I thought were the most popular that we've been looking at. So, and keep in mind too, so when we look at oil companies, like for example, let me just, all right, Command C, Command V. So we did like IMO, we did Imperial Oil. You could put in, for example, if you wanted to, like Torlamine, you could put Torlamine in here. And they're going to kind of also be on that line here between high and medium impact. So there is going to be that. Now, the other thing you have to keep in mind too is that initially we'll be looking at 25% rate across the board. Now, Trump believes that he doesn't need Canadian oil, but he does. He does need Canadian oil. Oh, look at this. Kiev and Kazim with a super sticker, 279. And guess what, guys? Even though this is a private, we're in a private membership only, that still makes him the GOAT. In addition, that does knock us up to 15. So they count. Even when we're in this other avenue where it's just the membership, it all counts. It always counts. So thank you very much, Kiev and Kaz. I definitely appreciate that. Now, Enid says, I bought Suncor last week. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. And here's the thing. Oh, the point I was making when Kevin Kaz came in with the super sticker is, or sorry, super chat. One of the oh, and I didn't read it. Really appreciate your insights and rationale. Thank you, Kevin Kaz. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Let me see here. Oh, JJ just showed up. Here we go. Only foot, please. Foot and mouth? Is that what we're looking at? Sure, why not? I can do that. I can do that. Kevin K says, I was just typing TOU. Thanks for covering them. I am a she. Okay. All right. Absolutely. There we go. See, and that's the funny thing. A lot of times, like some people I can tell, like, Enid. I know Enid's a girl, but I will have, and I'll tell you, there are some people in the community that I purposely use they and them just because I don't know. Um, like I'll tell you, like nine. I think nine's a girl, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm always trying to avoid it. But yeah, anyway, I think in your case, Danny, the tractor. I see a tractor, and I was like, oh. JJ says I am not woke. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't even use like when I use like a they in that situation. I'm not even doing it to be woke. I'm just doing it because I just don't have a clue. I don't, I don't want to, I don't want to make assumptions. I try not to, but it's the world. What happens, happens. But all right, I keep getting distracted. The oil, the whole oil thing. So Trump says, and he even said this today at the World Economic Forum. He says we don't need Canadian oil. We don't need Canadian lumber. Sure, he doesn't need Canadian lumber, but he does need Canadian oil. And that is because all of that oil, and I've mentioned this many times, all of that oil the US is producing, it's basically most of it's done by fracking, which basically you're going down into the shale, you're pumping water, you're basically injecting water between the shale, and that then pulls the oil out. And because of that, you end up getting light crude. Problem is the United States doesn't really need light crude because most of their capacity, so their factories, they all have a capacity for heavy crude. So they can process heavy crude. They can process light crude, just they don't have a lot of processing capability for light crude. So what they have been doing is the United States has been selling their light crude at a pretty darn good price on the market, and they've been buying heavy crude from Canada. And I'll put it this way: they've been buying it from Canada at a cheaper price than what they're selling their oil for. So they're light crude, and that's a beautiful deal that they have going on right now. In a way, Canada has an oil trade deficit with the United States, so maybe we should annex them. But it's kind of an interesting story. So once I think Trump finally gets a full grasp on that, I think what'll happen, and I know that Danielle Smith she's been down at Mar-a-Lago talking about it. I think you'll see initially you might see a 25 on everything, only because he said that, and that way there, if he does that initially, then he's basically gone through on his threat. But I think you'll see it drop off on things like oil pretty quickly. So for that very reason, when we're looking at our tier list, right? You'll very quickly see stuff like tourmaline go from being high impact to no impact. So if that tariff gets pulled off of oil, you'll see like Suncor, Imperial Oil, tourmaline. That'll all end up being no impact. Oh, let's have fun. Let's have fun for a second. All right. All right, AQN, Algonquin. Now, if we were to treat Algonquin fairly, they're a utility company. They have a lot of regulated utilities in the States, so they would technically be in that no impact. But we will leave them there. But I mean, technically, I would have to create a new box for Algonquin. One called "Who Cares?" Who cares? It's like, yeah, we'd have to. Can I do that quickly? I think I can. Let me see here. Command C, Command V. Oh no, no, it just gave me another tool or meme. Ah, I can't believe. Can I not copy that? No, I can't. You know why I can't copy it? Because I have it locked. All right, let's do it. All right, I'm gonna unlock it. Unlock. All right, Command C, Command V. There we go. There we go. All right. Guys, this is terrible. I should not be doing this, but I want to. I want to. Who cares? Algonquin. I'll just put them right there with the who cares. Oh boy. Good old Algonquin. What can I say? What can I say? Um, they're fun. They're fun. Algonquin is that company that every time I think they can't go any lower, they find a new way. They find a new way. And even when they make good moves that should improve the situation, they fail to improve the situation. So what can I say? What can I say? All right. JJ is just kidding. Used to operate snowcats on the local ski hill. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So you would basically be the person who would come to save me if I got on some skis. Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. It would basically be like some crazy girl going down a hill on skis, screaming, uh, and probably an avalanche chasing me. It wouldn't be fun. Oh, let's go back here. Do you think the drill baby drill attitude will eventually flood the market and affect the price negatively? Here's the interesting thing, though. So today in his meeting, and I was looking at this and I was listening to him, and he said, "Listen, OPEC." I think he might have been talking to Saudi Arabia, but he says you got to lower the price of oil. So right now, Trump wants oil to go lower. He wants the price to drop because he says, according to Trump, that if you lower the price of oil, it will instantly end the war between Russia and Ukraine. So that's what he was talking about at the World Economic Forum, is seeing that price of oil come down. And of course, if you do drill, baby, drill, if you're producing a lot more oil, yeah, it will, of course, pull that price down. But, you got to keep in mind, too, one of the other things that Trump does want to do is he wants to refill the strategic oil reserve. So it's pretty low right now because, well, Biden in his presidency, he pulled a lot of oil out of it to try to get the prices of oil down. So that could be very, very interesting. But yeah, so he does want the price to go down. All right. JJ says, I love how JT supposedly resigned, yet is still doing his best in office to teach the country to the ground. Oh boy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it'll be good to have him replaced. Then we can start to move towards an election. In Ontario, we are going to be getting election. Apparently, according to conservative insiders, Doug Ford is calling an election next week. So we will be going to the polls, at least provincially here, pretty darn soon. I know he wants to get it done before the federal elections because, well, why wouldn't you? Especially if you're a conservative government, if you want to ride that wave of popularity, now is a really good time to hold an election for sure. All right, we got Vineet in the house. All right, I guess that explains the drop in TOU this afternoon. Yeah, well, it was pretty much around. It was around lunchtime. So that would have been around somewhere between 11 and 12 Eastern. That Trump was talking all about this. So yeah, we got a lot of things happening, and of course, there's also one of the senators today posted something about. Now she was what I'm trying to think what her title is. She's part of the reserve, part of the reserves, like monetary reserves in one particular state, and I can't remember which state it was, but I saw this on the news. She made this post saying some good news coming soon. And the B she used in the title of it, she actually used the Bitcoin B. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So for those of you who are waiting for positive Bitcoin news. That could be coming out this week, maybe next week. We definitely have to see. JJ says, how do you feel about Carnage Carney? Everyone in Alberta hates him. He apparently bankrupted the UK. He was in their central bank by printing too much money, trying to reinforce net zero. Yes. Or I think Polyev has been calling him carbon tax Carney lately. Um, I don't. Here's the thing. I'm not super worried about whoever wins Liberal leadership because um, they're not going to win. So, it really boils down to I have a feeling that with the momentum that Polyev has, and as long as he doesn't do anything to completely mess up Parliament in the next 4 years once he's in, he'll probably get a second mandate. So even if the Liberals bring in Carney, um, who's to say if he'll still be the Liberal leader in 8 years when then the next time the Liberals may have a real chance at Parliament. So I look at it that way. Enid says Mark Carney is in the U.S. buying properties for BAM stock. I've seen that on YouTube. Interesting. Interesting. Pete Off is in the house, just feeding the algo. Thanks for the video. Absolutely, absolutely. Enid says he's worse than Trudeau. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. There's one thing that's better about him than Trudeau is I think he's smarter than Trudeau. I think he actually, he may not be, whether or not he's good with with economics, he at least understands them. Trudeau, sometimes I wonder if he fully grasps things because sometimes he would come up with some answers that I thought was really, really different. JJ says, if Carney gets installed as PM, this could make Pierre difficult to win. I don't think it will. I think, though, out of all of the candidates, if Carney gets installed, what it will do is I think that will give the Liberals more seats than any of the other. But I still don't think, I don't think they have enough to overcome that majority. There's just too much. There's too much momentum right now. So I don't think what it might do is it might make them the official opposition. I think it'll give them enough seats to get back into official opposition. And keep in mind, even if he gets in, he's not going to have until October. There'll be a vote of non-confidence pretty quickly, like pretty much at the throne speech. And unless Jagmeet decides to support the Liberals again, and that would be a dumb move, I think, for his party. Then we would have a situation where I would be in doubt because we don't want to give him like a lot of time to try to reinstill his new vision. Now the fact, and this is the thing, I haven't seen his campaign, but from what I understand, he is pro carbon tax, which is I think why Polyev is emphasizing the carbon tax Carney. So I think that a lot of Canadians are pretty much not on board when it comes to all the carbon tax. So I still think the Conservatives have a really, really good shot. I would be, it's not anybody's election to win. It would be their election to lose. They would need a scandal, I think, at this point to lose. So just keep things on the straight and narrow. And I think he'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. So yeah, if Carney wins, Enid is leaving Canada. Of course, you may not have to leave Canada to leave Canada. If Trump has his way. Let's see. JJ says, Singh already tanked the reputation of the NDP. Their party is deep in the gutter. Yeah, I mean, the only argument for them not voting non-confidence, honestly, is that they probably don't have the budget to run a campaign. But I think it's still going to happen. All right. Whoops. What a tool. Alberta separation coming. That's a good question. There was actually a movement a long time ago. I think it was Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, Montana, Idaho, maybe Washington. There used to be a movement. I believe this was like in the 70s where there was just some talk that they could form their own little oil-rich country. I can't even remember. There was a name for it too. I thought it started with an M, but like I said, it's far back in the history.
Dougie sent you your money.
Oh,
There's your check.
oh, look at this. So Doug Ford is buying my oh yeah, look at this. Yeah, it's a check for $200 from Doug Ford. So Doug Ford is buying the election. So you gotta love that. I think everybody kind of knew. Ever since Doug Ford announced that he was sending everybody $200, the election was on the wall. Plus the fact that commercials have been Doug Ford commercials have been hitting the air like crazy. So yeah, we're full on in an election here. Let's see, gas is so what's that? $1.81.9 in Surrey. Oh boy, that's pretty high. That's pretty high. I'm curious to know what the price of gas is in Alberta, because if I remember, when I used to live in Calgary, I always thought it was always a little bit cheaper on the Alberta side of the border. And then you would head out, cross the border into BC, and it was much higher. So it'd be interesting to know. I don't know if anybody here is from Alberta tonight, but I'd love to know about that gas price. So yeah, what a world we live in, right? It's definitely funny. It's definitely funny. Oh, all right. And this is Quebec. $1.59 to $1.61 a liter in Quebec. There you go, Enid. You can move to Quebec. Oh, here's the funny thing, and I was talking to Jill earlier. I was like, if Canada decided to humor Donald Trump with like a referendum on becoming a 51st state, which provinces would say yes? Which ones would say no? And we kind of thought that Alberta might be a yes. Alberta might be a yes. Saskatchewan and Manitoba might be yeses. BC might be a small yes. Ontario, I think there's a lot of ego in Ontario, so I think Ontario would be probably a small no to a medium no. New Brunswick would probably be a no. Nova Scotia PEI might be a yes. Newfoundland would definitely be a no. And Quebec might be a hell no. Because, I don't think they would put their distinct society in jeopardy. So we were just thinking that over and, just kind of as a fun little thought experiment. JJ says rental prices are subjected to rise by like 6% this summer. It's going to be ridiculous this upcoming moving season. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of at that point and I think we've been there for a while, where you don't want to ever give your notice, especially if you're renting. You don't want to give your notice until you have a place, because you could end up. I've heard of people, especially back in Nova Scotia. I heard of some stories of people who gave their notice, and they had a month to find a place, and they just couldn't, and they ended up in tents. So yeah, you don't want that. That's just especially with winter. I lived in a tent briefly once. I'll give you the story here. So out of university, I got a job in Lunenburg in Nova Scotia. So kind of a commute, they had a solid waste site there, and I was going to be doing a bunch of water testing out there. But I hadn't found a place yet. So I just like, okay, well, it's the fall. I'll just grab a tent, and maybe I have to sleep outside for like a week or so. Yeah, it took me a little bit. Like I slept outside, and then one night I woke up and there was frost on my sleeping bag. And I was like, okay, yeah, I got to really find a place right away. Now one of the people who was at the solid site when I went in, he was like, I got a heated van if you want to use that until you find something. So I stayed in that van for about another week, which was nice, And then I found a place. So that was all fine and dandy. But yeah, you just, I guess going back to the original thing, you want to make sure you have a place to go to before you leave, before you give any kind of notice at all. Paul is in the house with a hello. Hello there, Paul. How are you? How are you? Um, oh, I don't know if I heard. How did your X-ray turn out the other day? Kind of curious about that because I know you were getting your foot X-rayed. I think you were actually in the X-ray while you were in the chat, which I think is highly impressive. So, kind of curious about that. So, yeah, definitely a fun thing. Oh boy. Yeah, I told you guys, I think I told you guys before the inauguration that this was going to be a very interesting week. Um, I don't think I have I don't think that prediction has disappointed at all. And we still have another whole day tomorrow for him to do whatever it is that he's going to do. It could be interesting. It could still be interesting. Maybe next week could be interesting too. I mean, I would love to actually have a website that just has all of the executive orders listed, every single one that he's done. Because I'm sure there's probably a few that are in there that are really interesting that the news may not have jumped on. So I'd love to see all of them. But it's definitely interesting. So anyway, guys, this has been fantastic. I love these because it's a good chance for us to sort of get together, just me and the channel members, and also thank you for those of you who are watching this on the replay as well. And hey, if you're not a channel member, you're watching this a year in the future, so hopefully these tariffs are gone. I'm going to put that out there because I do release these a year afterwards. Interestingly enough, though, the January one, I released it for last year. It actually did really well, but that's probably because it was all about monthly income, retirement income. So I think people were happy with that. Let's see. Paul says the X-ray said it is still healing, but not full yet. Sucks to be older. I just bought Easy Cal Bone Builder with calcium. Okay. Well, let's hope it gets better. Yeah. It's kind of one of those things. One thing that a lot of older folks don't really do is you get out, you do your exercise. You walk down, you walk to the park, you feed the ducks. I love feeding ducks. There's nothing wrong with that. But as you're getting older, it doesn't hurt to do a little bit of resistance training. So even with like some light weights, just little things to promote bone growth. Because if you got a little bit of extra bone on you heading into into your golden years, it's probably going to serve you well, very well to be exact. But yeah, resistance training. I think it's absolutely awesomeness. Let's see. Paul says magnesium, zinc, boron, vitamin D3, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K2, flaxseed oil. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of good supplements out there as well. And that's the thing. I know I have been working hard since January. It's like, my doctor was like, you should do Ozempic. And I'm like, no, I'll do it myself. So now I have no choice. I have to do it myself. I just have concerns. I have concerns about Ozempic, to be honest. My biggest concerns about Ozempic is that, I have two big concerns. One is that we really don't have any long-term studies on the effects of Ozempic. Two, people who have come off Ozempic have had problems maintaining their weight loss. So it has all been coming back. And I've heard a lot of stories of people saying, oh yeah, it all came back plus a bit more. So it's almost like coming off of a fad diet. So I'm looking at that and I'm just like, you know what? Let's just do the hard work. Let's do the hard work. Lose it the right way. Then you don't have to worry about it. And JJ says, do you really trust Eli Lilly? I have my doubts. Now I will tell you too. I mean, these like Ozempic right now is a shot, but you can get it in a pill form, but it's still insanely expensive. So, but no, hard work I think is the better way. The only exception I think is if you're in a situation where your weight is an issue, like a major health issue, and you're not in that shape that you can do the hard work, maybe at that point that would be an exception. Now my mom is on Ozempic, and I think I can't see her doing the hard work. So and I don't want to make that sound like it's a bad thing. But she's like 72. It's like, you know what? Yeah, let's throw her on Ozempic. She can lose weight that way. I'm okay with that. But I'm young enough that I'm doing the hard work. Doing the hard work. So since January, I've taken off about almost 12 pounds since the beginning of the month. And that's just from daily exercise and cutting back on the portions and all of that fun stuff. So it's working. It's working it's working this time. So I will keep up. I will keep at it for sure. Paul says, let's see, learn new habits one thing at a time. Yeah. And keep in mind, it takes about 30 days for something to become a habit. So if if you got something that, it's a new thing that you're doing, you pretty much got to do it for a month in a row. And then it no longer feels like, out of place. It just becomes a normal part of your routine, and it's pretty cool. And JJ says, my partner took 2 Ozempic shots 1.5 years ago. Thankfully, he goes to the gym regularly for cardio and heavy lifting. Otherwise, there's no telling what the excess weight could easily come back. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. And I have heard some doctors have said, like I've heard, that have said that if you go on Ozempic, you pretty much have to stay on it the rest of your life. And it's like, yeah, no. I'll do it the hard way. And the hard way, like I said, and we just mentioned, once it becomes a regular part of my life, it's not hard anymore. So, and it's already getting to that way. Like I kind of almost, in fact, I almost kind of look forward to the workout in the morning. So, not too shabby. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Let's see. Whoops. Proud of you taking care of yourself. Takes a lot of work. You deserve it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those things. And I want to be around for many, many years. And, it'd be great. Like I envision with this channel, even after someday when I retire, like I'll be my mom's age, 70. I think she might actually be about 74 or 75 now. I'm not 100% sure, but when I'm 75, I probably won't be maintaining the schedule that I have now, but it'd be great at that point in time if I'm putting out a video, like every week, or at least at the very least, a couple every month. So definitely, that's how I view retirement, not as a shut down and do nothing. It's more as a, slow down a little bit, but keep it going for sure. Paul says some people take Ozempic for diabetes. Yeah, some people do. And my mom does have diabetes. So, and that's an interesting thing. Like with Ozempic here, like I know the way the drug plans work in Ontario is that they won't cover the price of Ozempic unless you have diabetes and they've exhausted everything, like with metformin and everything else. So if they've exhausted all of that, then they will cover Ozempic. But outside of that, if you're just fat or something, they're not going to cover it. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say fat anymore. I think that's one of them words that you have to say if you're slightly taking up more space, or you're slightly creating more love around. I don't know. I've never been accused of being politically correct. I will just go with that. We'll leave it at that. All right. Well, let's bring this back up to full size here. Waist size challenge. There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah. Weight size challenged. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just one of those things. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of funny. I've never really cared. I mean, if somebody comes up to me and it's funny, I've had situations where somebody mentioned, like I'll get trolls occasionally in the comments. And I remember once somebody mentioned something about, they started talking about cows and they were actually making fun of me. And I was like, that's fun. So I just sort of played dumb and said, oh, well, there's different dairy farms that you can invest in and blah, 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 and gave them this whole paragraph. They never replied. But I just came back at it like, it's like, who cares? I don't care. It's no big deal. As long as, and this is what I say, if you want to insult me, you're more than welcome to. Be creative though, because the algorithm is probably not even going to let your insult get to me if you use any kind of profanity. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It happens. You got to have, if you're ever, and if any of you guys are ever deciding to go into YouTube or anything like social media related, have a thick skin, because there are people who will just come in and they will make fun of you in any way, shape, or form. Now, I will say, though, I probably get maybe one troll that will come in, maybe, I don't know, maybe one every 3 months or something. And sometimes not even that. It just depends. I find that, I think this is a niche. A lot of the trolls aren't looking for finance as a niche. Whereas I suppose if I was doing, like if this was a Lego channel, I probably would get a lot of trolls. All right, let's see. Shortcuts will result in shortcomings most of the time. Long-term dedication and perseverance is usually the way to go. Yeah, exactly. Gas in Alberta, 141 to 150. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking exactly that. Paul says, before I retired, I had clothes allowance, ordered pants, shirts, a few belts. I ordered size 34, but I need 36. So not wearing those yet. Well, let's hope. I mean, yeah, especially once your foot is healed and you can get up and get around again and go back to your job. All that. It's Home Depot, isn't it? I think that's where it was, Paul. Let's see. Planet Fitness Gym doesn't judge people. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now I have a lot of my own stuff here. Like, I don't know if I can reach it. I'm gonna try. I have to use my foot. All right. Oh, all right. I'm here. I got it. I got a lot of my dumbbells. So those ones here are 8-pounders. So, but I got a pair of those. I do a little bit of resistance training with those. All of that fun stuff. All right. I had to drag really far to get it, but hey, why not? Enid says, Paul, what happened? Broke a bone or something? Yeah, he hurt his poor foot. I think it was a fracture. I believe it was. Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it was a fracture. Oh, I have never actually broken a bone. So, I'm just trying to think. I probably have come close. I've had a lot of, like, I got hit by a car as a kid, and but never broke a bone in any of it. I've been very, very lucky. Now, of course, I probably shouldn't brag about that, because, it's like I'll finish the stream tonight and I'll walk down the stairs and I'll fall down the stairs and break a toe or something. Boy. Mario says, I found some green dumbbells at work, 3 pounds each. Huh? Yeah. It's, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I use the 8-pounders just because I work up to it. It's one of these things where it's like, do I want to do a ton of reps at a low weight? I'll usually use a weight until I can do at 25, usually about 25 reps, because I don't like to count higher than 25 when I'm working out. So once I can do 25 of all the exercises with these, then it's like, yeah, it's time for 10-pounders. It's time for 10-pounders at that point. Now, we do have this other one. It's one of these ones that it's a weird kind of dumbbell. It fits into this mold, and then you turn a switch or something, and it pulls up the weight you want. I don't like it. I just don't like it. But because I kind of like these ones, that are just nice and solid. Paul says, I cannot do the treadmill yet. The pain is getting less, but real careful up and down the stairs. 5th metatarsal fracture in my left foot. There we go. It was a 5th metatarsal fracture in my left, in his left foot. Yeah. At least it wasn't the phalanges, the good old phalanges. Yeah, don't jinx yourself. Exactly. Mario says the funny thing about Planet Fitness was they got pizza once a month or free bagels. Oh, there you go. Let's see. I have some 20-pound ones times two. Use them for installing a new sink while the silicone caulking cured. Nice, nice. And that's a good point. Mario says just swim. Just swim. All right, JJ's heading off. Gonna drive home. Gonna drive home. All right. All right. Bundle up, JJ. It's cold outside. It's cold. Um, yeah, I didn't go outside at all today. I was just like, nope, nope. Today was not a day for going outside. But I did get my in regards to Evolve, I got my notes back. So I know what I have to change in the last video. So now I just have to refilm it and re-edit it and send it back to them once again. But that first Evolve one should be coming out soon. I'm hoping by the end of the month, or at the very least the first couple of days of February. But we're going to get that out. It's not going to count against, it's not taking the place of any other video. It's just going to be an addition to, because where I have to go through such a long process, there's no way I can guarantee when it will drop. So it makes it a little bit harder, but we'll get that out. Video wise, the next video, after, of course, the CN one that you guys can see today, is going to be, I'm going back to Horizon again, or sorry, Harvest. Yeah, we're going to look at their new, the new high income ones that they dropped. I actually did this like in the fall, but they got new ones. So let's do it again. It was also a pretty popular video. So we got that coming up. All right, channel members, if you got any last minute questions, drop them in. You know, we normally only go about an hour on these, so we're already doing good. But yeah, drop your questions in if you got any last minutes. Otherwise, we'll slowly start to wind down here. I don't even know how many of you are here. Let's see. The harvest video will be nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. HHIS honestly is pretty safe. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. And I basically will do the new ones and then sort of funnel them all into HHIS. I think that'll be a lot of fun. JJ says, I'd like to track the long term of this versus Evolve's QQQY. That'd be interesting. Yeah, we just need some time, like maybe in a year or so, we can do something like that. All right. Pete Off Canadian says, have a good night. I'm gonna probably get enough time to watch. Yeah, you can hit the like if you want to. It doesn't matter right now, honestly, Paul. Only reason I say it doesn't matter is because only the channel members can see this. So this will go out to all the channel members. So the like, this is the one time where it doesn't matter if you hit the like button, but hit it anyway. It's like a good ego boost for me. I don't mind that anyway. All right, guys, this has been another fantastic channel members. And of course, thank you to Danny for the super chat. That was always appreciated. Yeah, I can't wait. So we'll be back here again on Sunday for this week. It should be a great show. Until then, guys, have a fantastic night. I will see you guys again soon. And we'll, of course, be doing this exclusive members one again next month. Until then, take care. Have a great night, guys.